have experience in public sector where I worked on the TED Fund. I also have board level experience in the insurance sector where I served with First Guarantee Pensions. Experience as well in the importation sector where I worked with Propel Energy dealing in lubricants. And I currently serve as a special advisor to the Deputy Minority Whip of the 10th Assembly. So based on this experience and my interest in technology, I decided to, share what I feel we can leverage off this technology and apply it to both first the public sector, then the private sector, because the public sector has to come first in terms of policy to be able to, spread out into the private sector. So naturally, when we are talking about blockchain, we think of cryptocurrencies, we think of this, we think of that. But the underlying technology behind that is called blockchain, which in itself is a ledger. And a ledger is an accounting term to mean something that we use to record transactions. And the advantage of this is this ledger is revolutionizing government operations worldwide by offering secure, transparent, and efficient solutions to long-standing bureaucratic challenges, because we do have a lot of bureaucratic challenges. We do have a lot of steps as it pertains enacting policies in the public sector. So blockchain poses the possibility of reducing that time frame, reducing the corruption, enhancing trust, and generally streamlining the services. And when we look at the benefits that we stand to gain as a country from leveraging blockchain technology, the enhanced security and the enhanced data protection, because over the last couple years, Nigerians have been extracted of so many data. We have our NIN, we have our BVN. All of these are prone to, various forms of cyber attacks, various forms of fraud. So blockchain technology poses to improve on that technology by applying cryptographic security, which is one of the hardest to crack. Increase transparency. Everything about the public sector should be transparent. The average Nigerian should know what's going on. You should know what stages the transactions are going on. We have operational efficiency and we have cost reduction. It's going to reduce, what we call, or what has been in the news of late, which is the cost of governance, as we say. And if we keep on looking at a people-based system, know how there will be waste, there will be corruption. But if we focus on system-based approaches in the public sector, I feel it will mitigate a lot of costs, because you see that a process that involves 4 or 5 people, you're doing it in 4 or 5 processes, it's all recorded, it cannot be tampered with. Something that might take 3-4 months might take weeks, or might take a week, or might take days. And improved citizen services, improved services to your digital identity, your passport. When you go to the bank, you're using the NIN easily. You can go here with your smart key. You can integrate your data somewhere else. So those are the various advantages that we stand to gain from leveraging blockchain technology. And luckily, although it's relatively new, close to maybe a decade plus old, we have still seen some instances where some foreign governments have implemented this technology. And I'm going to go through various points of where, it was used, how we can use it, and so forth. Anyone has any questions or didn't hear anything, they can ask as well. Let's start with land registry and property rights. Everybody knows how the rigorous problems of, buying land in Nigeria is. You have to find the owner, you have to go to the land registry. What if we had the technology that the land can be registered properly on the blockchain, and you can easily trace who the former owners were, who the present owners were? If you want to access equity from the bank, they can easily use the blockchain to ascertain who in fact owns this. You'll be cutting out a lot of middlemen. Sorry, the lawyers would not like this, and the people that need to go and do your search for you. But you would cut out a lot of middlemen. You would cut out a lot of corruption that happens in this whole land processes, because it is more trusted, it is more public. The transfer of assets can be more digitized. So that is the first, application that we can use it in Nigeria. The country of Georgia, they implemented their first blockchain-based land registry in 2016. The system registers people's titles under 3 minutes. It's cryptographic proof, meaning it cannot be tampered with. Nothing like someone is using fake land paper to come and sell you something, or you're going somewhere and it's not original, or you have to check. So the fraud and the disputes have greatly reduced. We also have an instance in Sweden where they, created a single reliable source of truth property transactions, all based off blockchain. So if we look at that, there's no need for us to still use paper-based systems in our land registry, applications. Then let us look at something very crucial in Africa and in democracy as it stands, our voting systems. Our voting systems can be streamlined using blockchain technology by making voting safely and conveniently available through digital means. We can encourage greater voter participation. We can speed up the process of tallying and reporting votes. Then smart contracts can validate the voter's identity to prevent multiple fraud cases. Someone using one card voting 3 times. Everything is all registered in the blockchain and cannot be tampered with. It will also reduce the cost of election. Australia has explored some secure voting processes, and they helped in, transparency when they deployed this technology. Then we'll now look at our tax administration, especially now where we are in an instance where Nigeria is, we are grasping us in the accounting sector. We are getting used to this new accounting bill, this new tax bill. We're trying to get acquainted with all the new caveats, all the new sectors. Now everyone is focused. What is the tax? What am I paying? How is it transparent? How do I know that everything is clear? Blockchain technology stands to benefit us. It stands in helping the government to collect more billions of naira of unrealized tax gains from especially the unbanked. It will also help you as an individual to be able to track your transactions in a way that you are paying exactly what you're supposed to pay. Now we move on to another sector of our economy, which is the supply chain management. Our non-oil sector of our economy, before the oil boom of the 70s, were heavily reliant on agriculture. And agriculture was the mainstay of the economy till maybe the mid early 30s, early 70s, when we started pumping oil and we forgot about it. Now, oil is dying out around the world. The emergence of electric cars is coming up. We need to see how we can tap into our non-oil revenue. And one of the problems killing our agricultural sector is not the production, but our supply chain management. We have a lot of farmers in the north producing perishable goods. Before it gets here, it has spoiled. Before it's exported, it's not up to the standard that it's supposed to be. So blockchain technology has been able to, ensure product authenticity and quality throughout the supply chain. It can also help us in optimizing cross-border trade and remittance transactions because you can easily verify all of this on the blockchain. We now move on to what will I hit next? Digital identity management, NIN, BVN. Our data now is being collected. You need your NIN for everything. You need your BVN for everything. Blockchain technology can help us have a single registry of data where we can easily, spread it out, use it, access it for whatever agency you go into. The UAE is already using this, and to process with aiming of processing 50% of government transactions on blockchain transactions, on rather on blockchain platforms. So when these innovative countries are moving toward digitization, they are moving toward reducing their cost of governance. Why are we deciding to step back from leveraging this technology? As an accountant, I believe that we focus more on creating systems to prevent fraud and misuse or misappropriation rather than focusing on the people factor. If we keep focusing on the people factor as a nation, it's not really watertight. So we need to focus more on creating systems that are more verifiable, more scalable. And I think blockchain stands a chance in helping this. But obviously, there are going to be some drawbacks. What are the drawbacks? We're a country that we like privacy. Now, somebody can set your land on the blockchain. They'll see your name. They'll see who you bought it from. They'll see who you sold it to. So there are a lot of factors that can help stop the growth, which, like I said, policy has to be the first step. Our legislature has to pass step to be able to accommodate this new technology. We've also seen the instance of what we call central bank digital currencies, which China has been using, Australia has been using, Nigeria has launched their own as well, which will reduce, like I said, paper money, costs, your tax, you know exactly what is going on. Blockchain stands to help Nigeria transition into a cashless future. So that's in all is a summary. I try to reduce the technicalities of everything. That in all is the summary of how I feel blockchain can, from the private sector, enact policies that will create a favorable environment for capitalistic growth in Nigeria. And yeah, that's it. Anybody has any questions as to anything I said, feel free to ask. I'm sorry I talked so fast, but I just tried to get everything, in summary based on my experience in as few paragraphs as possible on how we can improve our public sector, performance in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ikechukwu Christian Ozodinobi.
Yes.
I
Yes.
did. You came in and just started shooting. I couldn't introduce you properly.
It's
Uh,
fine.
so most of the persons here don't know you. So okay, I
Yes.
will just introduce you. He's Mr. Ikechukwu Christian Ozodinobi. You happen to be the special advisor to the Deputy Minority Whip, Federal House of Representatives, right?
Yes.
All right. I have one question because
Yes.
the lecture you just gave now is very, very impactful for young persons that doesn't know what blockchain is, apart from just knowing Bitcoin, which is just an aspect of blockchain.
A blockchain, yes.
Yeah. Being that you are actually someone who is working in the corridors of power, working with the legislative arm of the government, this presentation would have been, I think, because this presentation would have been, would serve more in that legislative house because they are the ones that should be able to make some of these legislative laws on how
Definitely.
to implement some of these things.
Definitely.
Right. So I want to ask you, as someone who has this knowledge, as someone who occupies the position that you currently occupy, what are some of the, are there some moves or some laws that are on the pipeline or some laws that have been passed regarding how the whole crypto industry in Nigeria can be structured so that the common man can easily trade crypto without being scared of being arrested? Because currently, I think crypto is banned is banned in Nigeria. So are there laws or are there structures that are being put in place currently by the government coming from the legislative house, federal house of
Yes.
assembly? Are there some things that are currently going on? Because like you said, the whole blockchain industry as a whole is a niche that is yet to be harnessed by the government.
Yes.
The
Yes.
the whole idea of blockchain and crypto that we know currently in Nigeria are just individuals are just going into it, making money because it's a huge source of wealth there.
Yes.
What are the government doing? What are some of the policies that the government would are currently doing?
Well, thank you very much for that question. Like I said, in terms of blockchain, the technology is relatively, it's been there for some time. And that is why I kind of kept this presentation the technology part, not necessarily the currency part. As a sovereign nation, we are very careful as to how we allow a lot of foreign things. This is a new currency, is impactful, but we have to be very careful as to how we implement it into our laws. Because if you even check the countries that these things are coming from, you see that their laws are kind of one leg in, one leg out.
Yeah.
And Nigeria, at the level we are, we can't rush into something that has not even stabilized in places that are coming from. So that is why I feel there's a bit of stagnation in enacting policies towards cryptocurrency as it is. Start with blockchain. We have to start getting the government used to the idea of blockchain, just like how they got used to the idea of internet.
Okay.
We have to get them. used to the underlying technology first. Then we can now start moving into in terms of laws. The government has been in deliberations on this. Obviously, you saw the arrest of the Binance official. You saw the fact that they lifted the loan in September 2023. Sorry, the ban, and they now put the ban back. So obviously, a lot of discussions have been going on as to this sector. But like I said, we as a nation, we have to be very careful as to how we venture into things that we truly do not understand, because we have to think about protecting the citizens. This is a very volatile industry. As amazing as it sounds, as superb as it sounds, it's extremely volatile. That is why most governments, even foreign governments, are leveraging on the technology, but in terms of the currency, they are one leg in, one leg out. Nigeria, we might not really afford to be one leg in as it stands where we are now, because you have to start talking about, the currency insurance, NDIC. Will you be insuring people's money if they lose? People will lose a lot and will be prone to a lot of attacks that we don't know we can handle. We can become a target. Before you know it, what America is complaining about, that North Korea is attacking them, we'll start facing it in the country, and we don't have that
Yeah.
capacity to handle. Our banking sector is strong enough. Nobody can hack a Nigerian bank. But if we start having these major players and we're not strong enough or developed enough, I don't think Nigeria should rush into recognizing and legalizing them just yet. I think there still needs to be a lot of deliberation in policy before we go into that. But in terms of the blockchain technology, I think that we should jump on it as soon as possible. But the currency, I love it. I love how it's going. I know a lot of young people are into it and it's doing well. There's a lot of stigmatization. But as a nation, we have to think about a whole lot of other macroeconomic factors over the individual.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I guess the confusion often comes when people try to mistake Bitcoin for the blockchain technology itself.
Yes.
Blockchain,
Bitcoin is hanging
yeah,
on the blockchain. Blockchain is what holds it together. Blockchain is the underlying technology that can be used for anything. It can be used for recording, it can be used for currency, it can be used for contracts. So the technology itself is something that I feel we should focus policy on different parts, because you imagine when I was working in a government institution as an accountant in Tech Fund, and you have one file. I was in charge of designated projects at the time and fixed accounts, fixed assets, sorry. And you have one file, you move here, you move here, you move here, you move here. And I'm last set of millennial, so I'm very like close to Gen Z, and I'm like, what is all this paper? Sometimes I might be writing something, I make a mistake. Guess what? That piece of paper, I have to throw it away. Wastage. All this can be handled and all this can be saved by blockchain technology. You can easily check what's going on. Mistakes can't be made because there's a smart contract in place. So you cannot move to the next step except you complete all the requirements of this step. So I think we can hop on the technology and be slow with the currency. That's why I didn't talk about it really.
all right. Thank you very much. And some persons are asking some questions, although this
Definitely.
question, I'm not sure. Someone is asking,
I don't think any one thing about me, I don't think any question is an irregular question. When someone asks, sometimes we're looking for the right answers, but we should be asking the right questions.
yeah,
So any question should, yes, yes, yes.
someone is asking, aside from trading, how do they make money in that crypto of a thing?
Well, I have no idea. I guess maybe holding it like a security. If you check the historical data, some have outperformed others. There are some that you hold and over time, obviously, it goes up. There are people that trade it like a stock. So it depends on your strategy, really.
Yeah, and it's very volatile. You have to
It's
warn the
very
person.
volatile. So it's something like I said, as a country, we have to be very, very careful about the protection of the people. So when the government is slow about some things, it's not because they do not want innovation, but we have to be very sure that we can protect the people's interests.
All right.
It's very volatile. You can wake up and lose everything. You can wake up and make double.
All right. But with the kind of persons we have in the House of Assembly, like this, are they very prone to want to adopt the ideas of this generation? Because we are in a generation where everything is like going,
Everything is digital. Everything is
everything
digital.
is
Everything is digital.
digital,
Yes,
you
and
understand?
that's
So
why we have to talk about. There's a term called legacy system.
yeah,
Legacy systems are already existing systems that are being used.
yeah,
So that is a problem in a place like Nigeria, because this legacy system, when you're trying to overhaul it with new systems,
it's not
it
easy.
takes a bit of time. The adoption is a bit slow. So that is why we have to use something like blockchain that we can add, we can remove easily. We have a lot of legacy systems in place, I will not lie. That's why I feel policy-wise, we really need to work on the systems in Nigeria. But if you check how active this 10th Assembly has been, I think there's been a lot of changes. But what a lot of Nigerians are complaining about is we're not seeing the results. But there has
Mm.
been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of eye has been put into technology in this country.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The cashless policy is one. I think Nigeria
Definitely
has
is working.
yeah,
Companies like MoneyPoint, OPay, they're allowed to operate with more freedom. Now,
yeah,
many of us can remember the last time we went to an ATM.
yeah,
In fact, Nigeria is one of the only countries that you can transfer money easily from your bank app to another
yeah.
bank app
I wanted
without
to
being in
say that.
America.
Yeah,
Exactly.
even here
And
in
it
Europe.
has
Yeah,
Exactly, and it's extremely safe. So our safety in terms of our traditional banking is one of the highest in the world. So
yeah,
it's not like as if the banks are not seeing these figures. Because as an accountant, I'm a figures guy. I'm looking at our trade volume. I'm like, wow, we're one of the highest trade volumes. Why are we not tapping into it? We're losing money by not being in it. We
yeah.
are losing money by not taxing it. But we have to think about the protection of the citizens against things that we don't know about, against things that the IMF is telling us about that we should not jump into. So we really have to look at things from a broader perspective in terms of the currency adoption.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Regarding the financial sector, Nigeria currently is one. For me, with my experience, I'm currently living in Europe, and Europe is like the headquarters of regulation. When you
Yes.
understand the GDPR and all that's why the likes of Tesla, the likes of Google, Microsoft, they always have issues in EU because EU have so many regulations regarding finance and all that. So when it comes to the financial sector, Nigeria actually plays like Nigeria are at the forefront of making
Yes, we are the
transaction
forefront of innovation. Yes, in
very
terms of our
fast.
transaction volume. Yes, yes, definitely. We are doing well at traditional banking. So I hope a time comes where our youth will feel included in the. But now a lot of exchange platforms are able to get license from the SEC. So I think that's a step because now a lot of exchange platforms are legally registered to exchange this crypto to naira, and we also have to look at the point of these exchanges playing with the value of our naira. We have to protect the value of our naira as much as people are saying this, that we are holding back freedom, we must protect our currency by any means possible. So we have to be careful of a lot of foreign factors that can undermine our sovereignty as a nation.
Very
Very,
good
very
stuff.
important because a lot of things can happen.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We have the final question from
All right.
Mr. Ojo Matthew. He said, "What's the solution to the industrialization problem?" I ask this because where there's an issue with industrialization, it is difficult to even access blockchain technology because over the years there are much things that are yet to be implemented. I guess this is a bigger structural issue of the
It's the bigger
Nigeria.
structural issue. In fact, the bigger structural issue because we have to look at the underlying infrastructure that can
Yeah,
allow blockchain to take place.
yes,
Luckily, luckily, things have happened. Sometimes when you're slow, sometimes when something delays, I see it as God's blessing. If we were to start laying the infrastructure 10 years ago, we might have been laying cables everywhere. But
yeah,
now we're lucky enough that we can use satellite internet and hijack Starlink or sign a contract.
yes,
So I think as time passes, there are different ways we can able to leverage technology in a smart way. Nigeria is in an infrastructural deficit. We
yeah,
still have a lot of building to do. We still have a lot of roads to build. We still have a lot of internet to figure out. 60% of our people are not part of the banking sector. So a lot of growth is still needed. I will not lie. So it's not like
very
as if
true.
what the solution is. We just have to keep going. Next year, we have to build more roads, we have to build more schools, we have to build more hospitals, we have to do our ports better. It's just going to be like a steady on growth for Nigeria over the next couple decades because truly we are still a growing nation. So there's an infrastructural deficit. But it does not mean that the technology cannot be implemented from now. Because me and you now have phone, we have laptop. In the
Yeah.
office, they have phone, they have laptop. So on some levels, it can start being implemented in the public sector.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr.
Yes,
Ikechukwu. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
you as well.
I don't know if you've been briefed. This program started on Tuesday, and today is like the
Yes.
fourth day where we've had software developers, we've had a blockchain expert like yourself, we've had
Well, I wouldn't
cybersecurity.
say I'm a blockchain expert. I'll just say that because the name ledger is used, by definition, blockchain is a ledger and I'm an accountant. So record keeping. So anybody can be a blockchain expert. It's not a course yet. If you read it well enough and understand it
It's
well enough,
really
but
it's really broad for you to say it's not a course. It's really
it's
broad.
well, not here. It's not developed well enough here in the educational sector. But there are some BSc in blockchain, MSc in blockchain. So I would say more that I'm just maybe a public sector accountant more than a blockchain expert who has seen the need for technological advancement via this blockchain. Yes.
You just happen to be a man who wears multiple hats, who knows a lot of things from the way you speak.
I just read a lot.
Yeah. So it's really a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
though if there are going to be more questions, we'll call your attention to that. People will send it in the chat. So
All right.
thank you very much. Thank you so
Welcome. It was
much.
lovely talking to everybody.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
All right. Have a
Have a
great
good day.
evening.
You as well.
All right. All right. Good evening, everyone, once more. My name is Stephen Osemeke, and today is the day 4 of our program. And yesterday was awesome. We had a special assistant to the Honorable Minister of Youth on Gender Matters who emphasized the importance of technology for the youth, and who made mentions of some other things that the government is currently doing to support the youth in terms of technology. We all had a software developer, Mr. Lanluga, who happened to be the vice president of development in the Bank of New York. We'd also have a project manager, Mrs. Kerry Uti, who actually made a wonderful presentation on project management. We are going to continue on that series today. So we're going to be delving into data analysis. We also have a migration expert here who happens to be a lecturer here in Europe, who is going to be talking to us, who is going to be giving us some of the best approach to prepare for the way, I don't know how we call it, JAPA, because for most persons, yeah, we just want to leave the country. But the most important thing I've learned so far is it's not for you to just leave the country. You have to plan. You have to put yourself in a better position to be able to succeed in the country you are going to. First of all, you have to know the country you are going to. You have to get the required skills necessary for you to excel in that country that you want to go to. So without further ado, I want to make the presentation on data analysis. So I would share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
All right. All right. My name is Stephen Osemeke, like I've said. I happen to be a data engineer. I'm making a presentation on the career path in data analytics. So I'm an experienced data engineer and Power BI expert with a strong background in data architecture, analytics, and cloud technologies. I've worked for Hitachi Vantara, LTI Maitri, where I worked with clients such as Microsoft, specializing in Power BI, Azure, and real-time data solutions. My education background, I have a bachelor's degree in pharmacology from Delta State University, Nigeria. I have a master's in food science technology from Poznan University of Life Science in Poland. I'm a certified Power BI data analyst. I'm also a Microsoft certified Azure Cloud Administrator and many more others. This is an overview of my presentation. All right, we'll be talking on data, the demand for data analysts. I'm sure data analyst is one career path that almost everybody who wants to go into tech first considered before they went to whatever path they went to. Why is it so? I guess one of the reasons is because there is a huge demand for data analysts. A study by IBM in 2018 said that over 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is generated daily. Literally everything we do daily, it's data driven. It's everything we do daily is it's data. And from US Bureau of Labor and Statistics, they say that 25% of job growth projected by 2030 will be data analytics jobs. it is very essential in tech, finance, healthcare, e-commerce, and many more. Literally every industry that you could think of need a data analyst. Every industry, in the hospital, in the bank, in the church, and just name it. There's a data analyst in every organization because data is the source of the information where leadership actually take the decision. Decisions are taken from data. There's a great potential for good earnings. Entry level in the United States earn from 60K to 85K. And experience one, you could just imagine doing the translation. That's huge money. And as a data analyst, your role is future proof because the demand for data actually continues with the emergence of AI and big data advancement. The whole idea around AI is driven by data because the AI, the ChatGPTs of this world, what they depend on is AI. ChatGPT doesn't have a brain of its own. What is feeding on is data that he has been trained with. You understand? These are data that you give it. You go online, you post your pictures, you post content on social media and all that. All those data are being scraped, and using machine learning algorithms, the AI machine uses those data to answer your question. So when you ask ChatGPT a question, it gives you an answer. I don't think that ChatGPT has a brain. No, it's fetching from the available data that is online that the system has been trained with. What's the definition of data analysis? Data analysis is just the process of inspecting, cleaning, and modeling data to uncover insight and to support this, just to support decisions. You are cleaning, inspecting, and modeling data in order to uncover insights. You are trying to see result. You are trying to see insight from the data that you have collected. So you collect this data, and sometimes when you collect some of these data are unclaimed. You understand? Some values are duplicated, some values are missing, some values are wrongly formatted. So your job as a data analyst, basically, your job is to clean this data. After cleaning, you model this data. After modeling, you now start making some visualizations. Why does it matter? Data itself, data analysis matter because it is essential in business and healthcare for data for decision making. It's also used for predictive analysis, forecast trends and behaviors. I'm sure we all remember this companies like Motorola, companies like Nokia, companies like BlackBerry. Those companies are companies that were at the top of their industry at some point, but because of bad decisions that people took, they are no longer as strong as they used to be. And that's because data was not used effectively in those companies. But you see, companies now prioritize data because they look at things that have happened to companies like the companies I just mentioned, and they don't want those things to happen to them. So they do what you call predictive analysis. You are looking at now that let's say, for example, the United States president is currently have giving tariffs to countries and stuff like that. There are some restrictive trade practices they are doing now. What do companies do? Companies now have to go back to their drawing board, look at the data, and re-strategize. That's what you call predictive analytics. You are saying, okay, this is what this government is. This is the policy of the government now. So if the government is having this policy now, how does this affect our business in the next quarter? They're trying to predict, they're trying to forecast. So real world example of the use of data analysis is from some of us who have Netflix. You find out that when you watch a particular type of movie, maybe you watch Indian movies or Chinese movie or Korean movies for some time. What you see happen is that Netflix start recommending those kind of movies to you. What is happening beneath the hood? It's just that the Netflix algorithm uses the data they have accumulated from your viewing history and your watch time to recommend to you. It also happens on YouTube. You watch a video on YouTube. What happens is that other YouTube start recommending videos that are in that domain to you. That is what you call they are tracking your viewing history, and that is also a use of data analytics. So what is the data analytics process? This is a process that involves what the data analytics does in order to bring out insight from the data. So what happens is that first you are aggregate the data, you take the data, and data can be gotten from different places. You can get data from market women, you can get data from the beer parlor, You can get data from church. You can get data literally from everywhere. You can even get data from the club. You go to the club, you find out the drinks that people order the most, and you ask them why do they order this drink. And you will be shocked that people actually carry out such surveys currently at the moment, because there was a time I worked as a market research analyst, and one of the things we had to do is to carry out market research on FMCG goods, literally almost all the consumable goods we have in Nigeria. And you find out that companies pay millions of dollars just for that data, because they need those data for them to make decisions, for them to bring in new products into the market. So you aggregate the data, you enrich the data. The enriching phase is when you actually model this data. You are merging the data, you are appending, you are merging, you are bringing two data from different sources together. You are appending, you are validating this data, you are validating this data against missing values, duplicate rows, and all many other things. Like you're modeling, you are creating relationship, not the relationship between a man and a woman. In data analytics, relationship could be said to be how two tables connect, how multiple tables connect. Because even in a database, or when you are working as a data analyst, you are going to be working in database, and this database contains multiple tables, hundreds of tables. So for you to work with those multiple tables, you have to create a relationship between those tables. So you now start talking about things like primary keys, foreign keys, things that helps you do some joins. You are talking about types of join, inner join, left join, right join, and the rest. After doing all of those enrichment of the data, you now have to present the data. So that's when you get to data visualization. You are creating this your report, the fine report that we often see online. You are seeing, you don't know what happens beneath the hood before it comes. So when you are creating this report, you are using tools such as Power BI, you are using Excel. Most of us use Excel, but most companies now prefer things like Power BI because they have more functionality. You have Tableau. You use those tools to present the data. After presenting the data, then the leadership and the stakeholders will now have to make informed decisions from the insights received from that data. So there are types of analytics. All of the data that you see, they are grouped into all of the data that you see, they are all coming from four basic types of analytics, and that is descriptive analytics. This descriptive analytics just tells us what happened. So it's like you are getting data for sales of last year. You are seeing the sales figures. You're like, okay, what happened? Why did we have these sales last year? It's more like a historical analysis of an event that already happened. We are looking at, you now have diagnostic analysis that tells us why something happened. Okay, why did this thing happen? Let's say you are analyzed as so for example, I previously worked as a people data analyst. People data has to do with data that has to do with workforce management, hiring process in a organization, like more like HR kind of data. So when we are analyzing the such data, we are looking at percentage of attrition. Attrition means number of people leaving a company. Maybe they are being sacked or they resign. So when you analyze the data and you find out that the attrition percentage is high, it means that there's a problem somewhere. So you now start going to the rabbit hole to start finding out why is this so? What is happening? Which department has this high number of attrition percentage? They will now have predictive analytics, which predicts the future. Sometimes you see some data said in 2030, the percentage of 25% of jobs will be data analytical roles. They are predicting, they are using the data we have now to kind of like predict the future. They will now have prescriptive analytics that tells us how to act. You understand? You have a small business. You find out that if you do 20% discount, this will happen. The number of sales of a particular product will increase. You understand? Sometimes you go to a shop, you see they say 50% discount. They must have done some analytics behind the scene to find out that, okay, if we do 20% discount for this product, this will be the number of people that will buy. This is the number of sales we will have. Before they don't just come out to say they are doing 50% discount or they are doing 10% discount. No, there is a prescriptive analysis. They are making that decision based off the data they have of what will happen. There's a famous saying that said, "In God we trust. All others must bring data." Because men lie, women lie, but oftentimes data don't lie. So what is data visualization? We can't talk about data analytics without talking about data visualization, because data visualization is like the beautiful side aspect of data analysis, which is the using visual elements such as chart, graphs, maps, and other visualization to analyze data and find patterns and report insight gleaned from the data. You are looking for patterns. You are not just visualizing the data because you want to have just find graphs, find pictures. No, you are looking for trends, you are looking for insight, you are looking for insight. It's a way of presenting this insight to the stakeholders, because if you present the raw figures, it will take time for them to even understand what's happening beneath the hood. So you use data analytics to present this trend, this insight. It makes it easier to find and show patterns and trends that correlate and correlations in the data. You are looking at sales per month, per year, year to year. Okay, you are comparing the sales this year March to the sales of last year March. So you are doing year to year comparison. So those are the kind of things that we see in visualizing. We are trying to make it easier for the stakeholders to see, because as a data analyst, oftentimes you are not building that report for yourself. You are building it for the stakeholders, the management, your manager, your manager's manager, a director in the company. So these are the people that needs to take decision, and this decision they are taking is coming from the insight that they are deriving from the data. So for data visualization, we use tools such as Power BI, Tableau, Excel. So as a data analyst, you must know at least two of these data visualization tools, because those are like the tools that but Power BI is being owned by Microsoft. Tableau is a Google product. Excel is a Microsoft product. So most organizations use these three data visualizations tool for visualizing their data. So job responsibility of a data analyst, like I've said it before, but I would also want to say it again. The job description of data analyst depend irrespective of the type of data analyst you have, because there are many types of data analysts. They all follow the same pattern: data collection and preparation. You are extracting data from various sources, cleaning and preparing it for analysis. You are interpreting the data. You are using statistical tools and algorithms to analyze the data and identify patterns. Your job basically is to identify patterns in your data. So you have to spend a considerable amount of time looking at the data, trying to identify what will be a key point in your data. You understand? So as a data analyst, you have to spend a lot of time understanding your data before you even move to creating data visualization. The visualization aspect is the aesthetic part of the data analytical process. When you have already done some other cleaning, finding insight in your data, then you now start visualizing this insight. Then you now present this insight and recommend and do some recommendations to your stakeholders. Presenting is also very important, because when you are presenting, oftentimes your visualization are often technical things. You understand? Sometimes you are doing some calculation beneath the hood. You are calculating an average, you are calculating you are writing some dash queries to calculate something. So you actually need to be able to communicate technical things to non-technical people. So the director of your company does not understand how to do statistics and all that, because that is not their job. So you, as the data analyst, it is your job to be able to explain and give them an explanation that translate those technical terms into a non-technical way. Like, to make, if you cannot explain your report to a 5-year-old for them to understand what you are saying, then you have a problem. So as a data analyst, apart from the technical aspect of building report, analyzing and all that, you have to have a very skillful way of making that presentation to your stakeholders. So there are key concepts you have to know as a data analyst. You know, working with data means that you have to know a lot of things, because data is so big as a domain. But these are quite some few ones that, as a data analyst, if you're an aspiring data analyst, you want to go into data analysis, you have to understand some of these key concepts, because this key concept will help you to know how to move data. One of which is database. A database is centralized storage for structured data. It's enabled efficient retrieval and analysis. It's just like a central store where data is stored, but it needs to have some characteristics that enables efficient retrieval. You should be able to query that database so that data can come out. It should enable concurrent use. Multiple people should be able to query that database at the same time without having blockade or slow performance and all that. It should be scalable. The database should be, you should be able to increase the size of the database when the amount of data increases. And that's one of the job of database administrators. Their job oftentimes is to optimize the database for efficient retrieval of data from it. We have types of databases. We have relational database and non-relational database. Relational database are often database that actually store data that are often in tabular formats. They are structured data that are structured, that have rows and columns. An example of such are MySQL, SQL database. Then non-relational database are the not relational that they are database that stores things that are not in the form of tables. You understand? Example of such is MongoDB, Cosmos DB. Those are like databases that store things that are not in data that are not in the format of tables and rows and columns. Things like JSON, videos, and all that. They store those kind of data. Then data modeling. What is data modeling? Data modeling is a very important aspect of data analytical process because it's like designing data structures and for accurate analysis. You are trying to create relationship. Like I said, I explained what relationship is before, creating relationship between tables and all that. So data modeling is a part after cleaning your data, you have to model your data. You have to create a relationship between tables. If you are a company has multiple tables of people that they are workers, people in different departments. So if every department has their table, we have HR. So if you want to analyze data that have to do with that company, you have to create relationship between these multiple tables depending on the data you are looking for. And in creating that relationship, you have to do you have to make use of joins depending on what you want to do. Then we have ETL. ETL, which stands for extract, transform, and load. It's a process. Is a process of moving data from one place to another. You are moving data from a data warehouse, a data lake, a data warehouse or a data lake. And during this process, you are extracting this data, you are transforming this data, cleaning this data, and you are loading this data into a data. Let's say you are taking the data from a data lake, then you are loading it into a data warehouse because data warehouse is a centralized repository for storing large volumes of data. Oftentimes, the data that is stored in a data warehouse are often data that have been cleaned. So there are data that are ready to be used for reporting purposes, unlike lake houses. Lake houses are often data that are non-cleaned. That are like all forms of data and often in lake houses and stuff. Then I want to about joins. Like I said, you have to create relationship. While creating relationship, especially in a SQL database or any database, you use things joins. Joins is this is something you use in joining, and they have different types of join because let's say you want to join the HR department data with the data of the IT. So you have to use inner join, left join, right join. And there are other types of join. Maybe if any of you have questions on that, I can expatiate further. So data analyst, there are, like I said earlier, there are multiple types of data analysts. You have data analysts, business analysts, data scientists, financial analysts, marketing analysts. All of these people use the same process. The title of the job is all dependent on the industry that is hiring for that person. Like I said, I worked as a HR people data analytics. They call it human resource information system data analysis because you are dealing with human resource data. So it's also the same process of aggregating data, cleaning the data, modeling data, and making your report. Essential skill for a data analyst. For you to be a data analyst, you need to have problem solving skills. You need to know mathematics and statistics. When I say know mathematics, I don't want to scare anybody. It's the mathematics I'm talking about does not have to be advanced. At least you need to understand mean, mode, median. You need to understand average. You need to understand just basic mathematics. Then you can move from there. You need to understand advanced Excel. Excel is so deep. It is so deep. Excel is one thing that almost every new person who is coming into data analysis thinks that Excel is just make tables, create pivot tables, and all that. Excel is so complex. You understand? So you have to understand the advanced Excel. Then SQL query language. It is the most important tool you need to know as a data analyst, because data analysts use it, data scientists use it, data engineers use it as well. I use SQL for in every like for every day in my office. You have to know programming language such as Python and R. Python is very important. To me, Python is the most important programming language. I don't even software developers know. Python can be used in the software development, can be used in data analysis, it can be used in machine learning, it can be used in the AI. Python is an all-purpose programming language. So for if you are going to pick a programming language to learn, I would suggest you pick Python. Python is very important. Then you need to have excellent communication skill. You need to know visualization tools such as Microsoft Power BI, Tableau. So education and qualifications that I will recommend for anyone who wants to be a data analyst. It's often preferable that you have a background knowledge, a background degree in mathematics, computer science, or statistics, because they actually provide a strong foundation for data analytics or data scientists or data engineer. They give you the fundamental basis, because in all of the tech skills, be it software development, data analytics, data engineering, the most important thing you need is the fundamentals. If you are talking about Pythons, you need to understand data structures. You need to know the difference between a tuple and a dictionary. Those are like the fundamental things, because the advanced knowledge is built upon the fundamentals. And for someone, if you study any of this degree, that is the basic reason why you are studying this degree. They are going to be teaching you algorithms. You are going to be looking at things that you would not learn in Udemy or Coursera or YouTube. So that's why higher education in this degree is very, very important. But that's notwithstanding, you can also become a data analyst without studying any of this. Like you saw my educational background. I did not study mathematics or computer science or statistics, but here we are. You can also get certification in SQL, Python, and other key tools that can actually enhance your skill and credibility and career growth in data analytics. You can do online courses in platforms like Data Camp. Data Camp, I'm saying Data Camp because Data Camp is very important, because they have a way of structuring your learning. If you want to be a data scientist, they have a structured learning. They have multiple courses. Everything is in one place. If you want to be a Power BI data analyst, you want to be a Tableau data analyst, you want to be a AI machine learning engineer, they all have it there. You have Coursera, you have Udemy. These platforms offer hands-on training on SQL, Python, and Power BI. These are skills that are very essential in developing your data analytical skills. So some people ask why is certifications? Why do you need certifications and stuff like that? Trust me, certifications are quite important if you are starting out in any of these tech roles. Let's say you want to be a cloud engineer, you want to be a cloud architect, you want to be a data analyst, a data engineer, or anything. Do you need certification? Why is certification? The certifications actually validate your skills. They improve your job prospect and give you a competitive edge. In the current world, or in the current job market, it is very competitive, because the system that accepts and validate and assess your CV or resume is not a human being. So when you send it in, the system is looking for some keywords that are in your CV. So if the system does not see those keywords, your CV will be tossed aside. That's why you apply for multiple jobs, you don't even get called. But if you have these certifications and you state it out on your CV, it shows that this person is very serious. So you get an invite for for the job interview. You understand? So because you validated that you have this, because some of these certifications are from reputable institutions. We have the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificates, which focuses on SQL, Excel, and the visualization basics. You have the Microsoft Power BI Data Analytics PL300, which focuses on Power BI, DAS, and data modeling. We have the AWS Certified Data Analytics Specialty, which is focusing on cloud-based big data analytics. Then we also have the IBM Data Analytics Professional Certificate, which also focuses on Python, SQL, and data handling. So you have to pick from any of these, and you look at most of these are on Coursera. You can even apply for financial aid, and it can be free. They give it free because I remember I did a Google Data Analysis Professional Certificate a few years ago, and I didn't pay for it. I just applied for financial aid and I got access to do it. So you can start with any of these because these platforms give you hands-on learning on hands-on practice, and in that Google Data Analytics, you have to hands-on practice on projects. There are projects that you have to do before you actually get the certifications. So beyond certifications, you should do hands-on projects on your own. Go on YouTube, follow, watch along video, you replicate what the persons are doing, because the only way that you can become better in any field is by practicing. You can't just be watching and just be looking. No, you have to practice what you are doing, work with power, download Power BI, try to create report. When you're starting out, it's going to be difficult because there are in data analytics, there are many moving parts. You have to understand Power Query, you have to understand DAS query, then you now start understanding how to use visualization tools. You have to understand Python in some instance, Arrow program. So there are many things. It's not just that you are going to learn one thing and that's it. So you have to focus on building hands-on project, internship, and continuous learning. Continuous learning. I'm reading big books. I'm watching videos. I'm doing certifications. Those are like you have to embrace it because the only way you can keep yourself up to date with the trend in this industry is to continuously learn. So if all the things I've said have not made you want to choose data analysis, I guess some of these reasons now will now make you choose it. It's in high demand. Don't think that because your friend is learning data analysis, or maybe all your friends are learning data, you now want to be, I want to be unique. No, don't feel that the industry is saturated. No, the sky is big enough for everybody to fly. That's the fact. The sky is big enough for because every industry need data analysts. And the funny thing, and the real fact is that not everybody that starts learning data analysis becomes an efficient data analyst because it takes discipline, persistence, and courage for you to eventually become a certified data analyst that can handle your job because the role of a data analyst is so important because the management depends on your ability to analyze data for them to make a decision because you cannot make a presentation and the directors will now start cross-checking how the validity of the numbers in your presentations are. That's a big problem. So you need to be that efficient to be able to, because you are dealing with numbers. You are dealing with numbers. So like I said earlier, data analysis, the jobs, they are high paying jobs, well paying jobs for real, compared to other industries. Because like I said, the role of a data analyst is very important for most organizations. So most organizations are ready to pay a lot of money. You can work remotely from anywhere as a data analyst. You can even be, I know a lot of data analysts that are in Nigeria and they are working for companies in the United States and they are earning so much because you just work with your laptop and that's it. The evolving workplace environment, with the advent of AI, most of the roles currently now, they demand that you have at least some skills in data analysis. So in your role, you might want to make a presentation. Why would you it wouldn't it be better if you make that presentation using Power BI because you are making Power BI look, the presentations done on Power BI are more aesthetically pleasing. So why wouldn't you want to learn it? So my friend who's working in the banking industry told me that they were told to start learning Power BI as a requirement for promotion. So the working environment is now evolving. So it means that everybody has to learn data analysis because it's helping organizations to improve their product and standard. Almost every organization today want to improve their product and standard. You go on Google, you use a product, they ask you for your comment, your survey. They are doing survey. YouTube is doing a survey. Those surveys they are doing is data collection. They want to improve their standard. They want to improve their products. So data analysis help almost every organization. It's very ubiquitous. It's like the air we breathe. So my conclusion for you is Learn continuously, stay up to date with the latest trend and technique in data analysis by learning continuously. One of the way you can stay up to date is by learning cloud computing, like by learning cloud as well, because most data now that we are in the era of big data, most data now are not stored on-prem. They are not stored on the system or on the flash or some on a table in your laptop. Most data now are stored in blob storages in the cloud. So you have to understand, as you are learning data analysis, you have to be opening your mind to also learning cloud. We have Azure platform, and most of those platforms offer you free vouchers once you start. So you don't have to even pay to use their VMs for it. I think the Azure gives you about 200 euros. GCP, Google Cloud also gives you about 300 euros for you to start up working on the cloud. So you have to learn how to be, because most times you are going to work in an organization where they are hosting their data in the cloud. So if you don't understand how to integrate the cloud and the visualization tool you are using, you're going to have a problem. Then you have to find a mentor, seek guidance from people with more experience and different perspective, even outside your company, to learn more about this dynamic field. I can't overemphasize the importance of looking for a mentor, because it's a mentor that can actually, the things that you spend months on to do, a mentor can actually help you to cut corners and tell you, okay, focus on this for now. A mentor can actually structure it for you, because there are, like I said earlier, there are quite a lot of moving parts when it comes to data analytics and the data world generally. There are quite a lot of things you have to learn. And if you don't have a well-structured approach towards learning these things, you find out that you get burnt out. So a mentor kind of like make you structure your learning and make you structure the way you actually approach some of those learning. Then finally, you have to showcase your work. Showcase your work. Very important. There are people that are earning more than you today that are not as good as you are. The reason why they are earning that good is because someone saw what they did and recommended them. So I would encourage every one of us, if you are, this is not just for someone in data analysis. If you are in any sector that you are in, if you are a software developer and all that, write about yourself, go on LinkedIn, post about the things you are doing. Someone is looking at you. The lady that made the presentation yesterday on IT project management, I knew her from afar. I have not spoken to her before, but from the things I saw of her on LinkedIn, I watched her projection from when she was doing her youth service till now that she's gotten to the top of project management. That's how I reached out to her. That's to show that you don't even need to know someone for that person to actually reach out to you. As a young person, you need to your LinkedIn is your resume, it's your CV. So you build portfolio of your work and showcase your skills and accomplishment to potential employers and clients. If you are using LinkedIn as a young person and people don't approach you for a role, you don't get job offers from people that don't know you, from recruiters and all that, then you are using it the wrong way. You are using it the wrong way. So you need to be able to put yourself out there, optimize your LinkedIn. You ask me, how do I optimize my LinkedIn? Go on YouTube, search, I want to optimize my LinkedIn. You will see the approach, you see the steps. There not all some of most of these things, nobody sits you down to teach you these things. You have to take your life that serious. Go on YouTube, learn some of these things, and optimize your LinkedIn. Put your work out there. You made a project, even if you watch the project on YouTube and made it, put it out there. You understand? Because the people that are doing these things, doing these big things, they are not better than you. They don't have two heads. You understand? It's in doing that we become. So I hope that I've been able to inspire us tonight. Thank you so much. I'm open to questions. If you have any questions, I'm open to answering. So I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay. I have there are other co-hosts here who can take up the reins of asking these questions, but I would also do that. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing a question from Blessing Undoku. Okay, you can ask your question. She's asking, can this data analysis be used in forex trading? Yes, of course. Forex trading involves a lot of analysis. You have to do a lot of fundamental analysis in forex trading. I'm not like a forex expert, but I know very well that statistics and mathematics are the bedrock of forex trading. If you know of efficient traders in Wall Street and all that, they are very good in quantum mathematics and analysis. So forex trading would go well with mathematics. Um, Hold on, please. Can you? Oh yeah, Denny Clement is asking. Well done, our capacity lecturer. Please, can you suggest the platform or app to use to learn all this program online in order to have more insight and deeper knowledge? Well, it depends on the program you are looking at for. What I will tell you is that we are in an era of information overload. This era that we are in now is an era where there is so much information, but the problem is that the zeal to learn is not there because there are so many things competing for our attention. You understand? You have TikTok, you have Snapchat, you have Twitter, you have Instagram, and many other things competing for your attention. But trust me, there's no limitation of what you can learn now. There's no limitation. For yesterday, for software development, you had free code camp where you can learn everything for free. Code with Mosh. There are other platforms that are also very, very cheap. YouTube is a university of its own. You can learn everything on YouTube. The basic fundamental, anything you want to learn, go to YouTube. From that YouTube, the person that is tutoring you there will recommend you to a platform that is even more structured. For data analysis, you can go to Data Camp. Data Camp is a structured platform that has everything about data. You want to be a data engineer, you want to be a data analyst, you want to be a Power BI, you want to be Power BI efficient, you want to train for Power BI certification, PL 300. There is a track for that on Data Camp. This person is asking, is Power BI a free software to use? Yes, Power BI has a free tier. You can just download it, then you start using it. You could also apply for a trial. There's something called a trial. They give you like 3 months trial. You don't get charged. The trial does not involve you putting your card or stuff. They give you 3 months trial. And right now, Microsoft now brought out something called Microsoft Fabric, which is now like a platform that houses all the data analytical tools that Microsoft offers. You have the Synapse, Data Warehouse, the Data Factory. These are like tools that are in the Azure platform that is used for big data, data engineering, and also data analysis. You have Synapse, real-time intelligence, you have Data Factory. So Power BI is just a component of Data Factory or of Fabric. So if you go and download Power BI, if you go to the web, you'll see Data Fabric. So Fabric now gives you many things, data flow. You're able to create things like data flow, data pipelines, and all the other stuff. So just download Power BI and start using it. Please, people always make mistake data science with data analysis. Can you explain difference between them? What are the entry rules for data analysis in the job market? Okay. All right. I agree. People always make the mistake with data science and data analysis. All right. Data analysis is what I just did a presentation on. I didn't get to data science. Data science actually have to do with more on statistics, creating models, creating data models, which is more advanced than it's a bit more advanced than data analysts and stuff like that. So there are often people that actually create data models and data statistics with our data. I see another question. Okay. Okay, my question is, can a person wake up and want to do data analysis without having any knowledge in computer, or is there first before Mrs. Loretta, see, for you to go into data analysis, you don't need a prerequisite knowledge. That's the beautiful thing about it. Like I said earlier, data analysis is like the entry barrier is very low. Almost everybody could be a data analyst. That's the fact. Almost everybody could be a data analyst. All you need is your laptop or whatever platform you want to learn from and a little bit of data, then persistency. That's all that's required. You don't even need to be very good in school. You don't need to graduate with first class. You don't need to be an A student or a B student. All that is needed is your ability to sit down and learn. That's what is needed. You don't even need to understand how computers work, understand CPU, and no, you don't need all those complex things. So it is like it's not as complex as software development, like if you are entering. So the complex part of data analysis, maybe if you are going to data science or data engineering, which is more of the technical aspects. Okay, Mr. Benedict, I work in telecom space and procurement personnel, but I discovered it's more data analytical role aside procurement tactics. I hope to learn more on data analysis to better my work. And all right, that's great. Precious, you say, I've come to understand that the market for data analysis is now quite saturated, especially the remote sector. What can one do to become outstanding? Wow, this is a very beautiful question. All right, like I said, the idea that the market is saturated is just a fallacy. It is not true. The market, all that, see, there are people that are looking for you. And what you have to do is that you have to know your thing. That is just it. What makes you stand out is knowing your thing. I can tell, I can bet you, for you to be outstanding is in following some of the things I've said today. Post your work out there. You have to post your work out there. You need to have certification. There is a certification. There's this DP203 that Microsoft had, DP203 Data Engineering Certification. If you have that certification today and you post it on LinkedIn, I bet you in a month's time, you'll get a job in data engineering. It's not like you'll get a job. You interviews will be chasing you. That's the fact. If you DP203, I think the certification is being retired by ending of this month or something by Microsoft. They are bringing DP700, which is a Microsoft certified fabric data engineering. But I'm telling you, there are certifications that you get that will make recruiters to be chasing you. If I open my DMs for you, you will see that a lot of recruiters are like, I have this role and this role is suited for you. If recruiters don't reach out to you like that, it means that you don't have some of the keywords they need. Because when these recruiters go on LinkedIn, what they do is that they put the role that they are looking for people for. And what LinkedIn does is that it's like Miss Dr. Steven said the other day, LinkedIn work with an algorithm. You understand? Once they just the way you go and search for someone on LinkedIn or on Facebook or so, recruiters go to LinkedIn, they put the name of a role they are opening, they're searching for people for, and all the people that have those kind of the keywords they're looking for just shows. So if you have certain certifications, it puts you ahead of others, it puts you ahead of some competition. So for you that is saying that the market seems to be saturated, what can help you is get certifications. Get PL 300. If you are looking at data analysis, Power BI, PL 300 puts you ahead. It makes because it's a Microsoft certified certificate. It is not like Udemy certifications or Coursera certifications. Look at Microsoft certifications. Look at Databricks certification. Databricks has certification in data analysis. These two I'm calling now Microsoft certifications because these certifications you pay for them, and these certifications are not just certifications you do when you want to do them. They are certifications that there is huge monitoring. I've written a couple of them and they are like well monitored. You can't cheat. There's no way you can cheat. You are paying top dollars for them. So if you have these certifications that you pay for, not the Udemy ones that they give you at the end of a course, those ones are not really that revered. But you see, the ones from Microsoft, the ones from AWS, the ones from Google, not their Google data analysis certificate, but that one is also good for entry level data break certificate. Or that all these four that I mentioned would make you stand apart from the competition. Please, the data camp website for learning data analysis. All right, I will send that. That's not a problem. Please, is Power BI a product of Microsoft? Of course, yes. I previously worked as a Power BI technical support engineer for Microsoft. So I work with the product engineers that work on that build Power BI. I also work with customers that are using Power BI. So it's a Microsoft product. Okay. Mrs. Loretta, please, sir, how many months will it take for someone to be done with data analysis and start job and bill earnings, please? Well, this is a very funny question. People always ask this question. Well, this question is it's I can say the duration it takes for you to become a data analyst is dependent on you. How consistent are you? Consistency is the key. So if you take like every day you spend 1 hour learning something, doing something over and over, you find out in 3 months' time you'll be very good in it. So the duration is dependent on you. But if you are spending 1 hour or 2 hours every day learning one thing, trust me, just calculate it. You are spending 2 hours every day learning something. In a week, you know how many hours you've spent? You spent like more than 14 hours doing that thing. So you know what that means. With a 4 hour daily time dedicated learning, you'll be job. Yeah, that's very true. Then Suzanne is asking, how can a novice in tech world start and where do they start from? You can just start from where you are, the place you are now, now, now. Start from there. You are perfect. You are not a novice. For you to even be able to access this platform tonight means you are not a novice. You can start from where you are. So we will have to move to the next session. I'm still going to be seeing your questions. As I see your questions, I would interact with them as well. So I know there are quite a lot of questions regarding data analysis. I will answer them, but we need to move to the next session where we have Doctor. We have our mama in the house, Dr. Omoye Akhagba, who is a lecturer at Collegium Civitas University, Poland. She will guide us through migration, insight and opportunities, discussing international study, work opportunities, challenges, and strategies for success. For most of us who want to leave Nigeria, who wants to Japan and all that, I believe that this our session will really give us insight, will open our eyes to some of the things we can do to prepare ourselves. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Omoye Akhagba to take her section.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah,
And,
good evening, ma.
good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. I would share my presentation.
Sure, you can.
Pardon my voice. If you cannot hear me, just let me know so that I can speak a little bit louder.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Just a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So my name is Omoye Akhagba. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm here in Poland. I work as a researcher and a lecturer at Collegium Civitas University here in Warsaw, Poland. And I'm into different fields, maybe not directly into technology, but I have my background in communications, advertising, and then sociology of migration and health. I also work with the NGOs in terms of bringing social dimension into everyday life, integration of migrants and all that. So here we have the migration pathway, which I know that most people are interested in. But the journey is not like, magic. And I'm sure most of you already have friends or families who have been trying for so long, or perhaps you've been trying also to relocate. And I will tell you what's the best approach to this. So in my presentation today, what I have is understanding migration pathways, Poland as a country of destination. Most people would like to come down to Poland because it's within the Schengen zone, it's an EU country and all that. And Poland became popular in the last 3 years as a result of the Ukrainian war. So people started to hear about Poland and all that to see how or where the location of Poland is. I also talk about the legal framework, just an overview, work pathways, study pathways, family reunification pathways, and not to shy away from the challenges and faced by African migrants in Poland. Also to talk about current trends, future outlook, and if you have questions, I can answer them. what can you do? So maybe some of you have got skills which you already have right now, or maybe some of you are already working remotely and all that. So we'll talk about some of those things when it comes to relocation abroad. So first of all, let me see if I can maximize this a bit. You can see where exactly is Poland. So Poland is located in Central Europe. It's in the country that is actually in the heart of Europe. We are in the central part of Europe. We are next to Germany on the eastern parts and on the western part of Ukraine and Belarus. So we have Lithuania on the northeastern part of Poland. We have Czech Republic down south. We have Slovakia, the country that used to be known as Czechoslovakia. So we have these two countries. You have Austria and Hungary down below. We have Romania. We have Moldova below Ukraine. And we have Russia on the top part of Latvia and neighboring Estonia. We also have the Baltic Sea. This sea is actually the one connecting some of the Scandinavian countries. You've heard of Denmark, Sweden, Finland on the top part, Estonia, and all that. So this is a map of Poland. And then you have France towards this area. Here you have Switzerland. Liechtenstein is here. So you can actually see an overview of where is Poland. So geographically, we are located here in the heart of Europe. So people say we're in the eastern part of Europe, but no, actually Poland is in the central part of Europe. We can call it Central European country. So what am I going to be discussing today in terms of those key points you should know about Poland? I don't know about any other country, but I would talk about Poland in terms of where I'm able to discuss and maybe some other EU regulations that apply to. So Poland is a growing economy. I mean, it's an EU member country. That's the fifth largest EU GDP. We did not experience global economic meltdown during the time you have this financial crunch. Poland was still standing strong when other EU countries like Greece, Portugal were already experiencing meltdown and global financial crisis. Poland is not using EU currency. We have our own local currency to which we use. And to be honest with you, most of the countries, maybe you already know about Brexit when Britain left the European Union. So there was an increase. I mean, this was a factor that affected the increased demand for IT labor, engineering, fintech companies were moving down to Europe, to this part of Europe, Central Europe, both in Czech, both in Poland, Slovakia, some countries like that. But Poland was the main hub for them to establish some of these companies. So you have big banks coming to Poland to establish their hub after Brexit's I mean the palaver between Britain and the EU. So there is high demand for this kind of skilled labor in terms of IT, in terms of healthcare, also English speaking. It's not an English speaking country. Let me put that to you. We speak Polish, just like in Germany, just like in France, they speak French, just like in some other countries that are not colonized by Britain. So Poland was not colonized by Britain. There's no English origin or anything, and Poland did not colonize any country, so there is no way they will have come in contact with English. So mainly we speak Slavic languages, like some people understand Russian, some people understand different languages and all that in this direction. So basically, Poland, we speak Polish. You have to understand Polish to be able to thrive in everyday life. But some companies recruit English-speaking foreigners to help because of Brexit. So some of those English companies coming to establish their base in Poland require English-speaking people. So that's why people like Stephen also can also have a job. I can also have a job. But nonetheless, there are some jobs that are not meant for foreigners. So you cannot be a lawyer if you don't speak Polish, because that's deals with regulation. You cannot study. Even myself, I studied communication, but when I saw that there was no market for me, I had to switch to sociology to do something that I can easily navigate into the society and to see different kind of research. So there's cultural diversity, of course, and again, as a result of Brexit, most Poles came back home. So whether we like it or not, there'll be a time you will go back home. They'll go back home to develop our country. Poland was almost like Nigeria before they joined the EU in 2006-7, before the ascension time. Poland was really rough. I mean, really, really rough. You can barely survive on 5 zlotys or 10 zlotys to do anything. So joining the EU gave them leverage of so many things. Before then, it was really a struggle for average Poles. So most of the Poles are also abroad. Even there are some Polish people living in Nigeria, even more than 20 years till now. So they left the country when there was a global crisis and they couldn't survive day to day. So most of those Poles coming back now speak English. They blend with people working, and I'm sure with data you don't need it's a universal language, so you don't need proficiency Polish language. But then, if you like to stay in Poland, you have to understand Polish language to navigate so many things. Even the person who is your manager at work or your supervisor at work may be preferred than you because you would need to deal with different administrative things, and you may have higher qualification than this person. But because he's a local person and he's needed in terms of administrative things, so it's like this. So generally, some people speak English. They've learned English over time. Some people are returnees from the United Kingdom and after Brexit fallout. So this we have in Krakow and in Warsaw. We have a lot of foreigners as well. So you can easily find someone who is like an African person or someone who is from another country but speaks English to help you navigate so many things. And maybe your colleagues at work can be from India or from any other country around the world. So you have this cultural diversity in Poland. So what are the different types of visa that we have? I mean, that can allow you to come to Poland to stay or to study, or what route? So we have the type of visa types. We have the short term, which is the Schengen visa that may be given to you less than 90 days, 30 days, or thereabout, or 180 days. Can be single entry, can be double entry, multiple entries. And then we have this Schengen allows you to go around the whole of Schengen, 27 member state countries, to allow you to go around, do some sightseeing. But if you like to stay here, you have to, change that to a different type of visa. So this is usually given to tourists, people who want to just visit for a short time and all that. But if you like to have a job, to study rather, if you apply to a university here, you need the D visa, the national D visa. This is usually given for 1 year, so to allow you to come to Poland, also allow you to go to different Schengen countries, but it's mostly given to students. And with this, you have the possibility to find a job or to do things in that way. Or you have, so this also applies to even those who are coming for work and all that. Sometimes it's also given to family members, and if this is going to be like for a long time to work and to have this. Do you also have residence permit? So after the expiration of your visa, and you'd like to stay for a long time, You can have resident permits, whether temporary, which is usually given to students. You have this between, it depends on the purpose of stay. So the purpose of stay is for academic purpose. You have it for like 1 year or 1.5 years or 15 months, as it is called. And then you can also have this temporary permit for up to 3 years. So for example, if you get a job, you're working, and then you want to renew your permit because this visa, this national day type visa, allows you to work. So if you find a job while studying, it's good for you because you can be given up to 3 years to get residency in Poland and
Please,
all.
please, can you be more audible? They are
Oh,
saying.
I'm not okay. So sorry, I'm sorry because I'm struggling with my allergies. So, but then I'll try to be audible. Okay,
All right.
maybe because I'm using the computer microphone, so that's why I don't have like headset or something. Okay, I'll try to speak louder. I'm
All right.
sorry, my voice is somehow like this. So when it comes to the temporary one, if you have a job or you're studying, you're most likely to get this. And then the permanent residence type of visa is given, residency permit is given to people after 5 years. So for example, if you have straight work 5 years, and then for the student, if you want to convert from the study to the permanent residency or to work, uh, 1 year is calculated into a half. So if you spend 2 years for your master's program or 3 years for your bachelor's program, so 2 years is calculated as 1 year for you. So if you spend 5 years of work in Poland, living in Poland and all that, you will need to show this to have permanent residence. I mean, this is also like what you call PR in some other countries like Canada, where you have this kind of permanent residency, but here you can only get it if you're in Poland already. But they don't have any scheme like other countries that give permanent residency if you're outside of the country. We don't have that kind of scheme in Poland. And then for you to get that permanent residency, you need to have a knowledge of Polish language up to B1 level. So communicative level, listening, just like you do your IELTS in English language. It's something like this, similar. So you have to do it inside of Poland here. And then the office that is responsible for this is the Office for Foreigners. We call them Urząd do Spraw Cudzoziemców, which is the Office for Foreigners in English language that gives this residency. Every foreigner goes to this place. You have to be sure, you have to remember your the date your visa expires, how to renew, how do you submit all those paperwork, and to be legal here. So you need this framework. Yeah, so talking about work permit, I would state this maybe in the end of my conversation or in the end of this way that for you to have the work permit, some people get jobs even directly from Nigeria. So I have like a sister here. She got a job in a multinational company, FMCG company. She got it directly from Nigeria. She didn't come to study. She applied and she was just chosen, the relocation package paid for and all that directly from Nigeria. I also have another friend that I met. This person also was in, I think, Singapore, and then it was posted to Poland and all that. So I have people who also have like work pathways. So here, the Polish employer would have to advertise for uh, for example, competency test and all that. So if the person who is the priority is for those who are Polish, first of all, and I think Nigeria also have got this. I remember in the 70s that I think maybe Gowon or yeah, I think General Gowon or I can't remember which of the military or Obasanjo during the 70s, he enacted a law that before you can give a job to we prioritize Nigerians over foreigners. And then I think then it was like indigenization of companies. So you have to, make sure that you employ you have Nigerian owned companies in the 70s. It was like that. And then the same thing applies for Poland, that the job offer, first of all, is open to Polish people. And afterwards, if they cannot fill the position, then it is advertised to foreigners that, okay, this person has got a skill that a local Polish person doesn't have. So that test is done. But in the IT sector, there's a little bit of exemption because it's like a general market. But in other fields, you have to do this labor test, which some of the employers do not like to do. So they prefer to hire students. So because the students have got automatic work permit, they don't need to apply for a separate work permit for students. So this is something that uh, employers have been doing over time, at least in the last few years, to recruit students. So if you have a student status, you're most likely to be hired before someone who doesn't have a student status. Take, for example. And then there are different types of work permits. So the one with the student, they have automatic work permit. And if you are still studying or you're a graduate of Polish university, you have a graduate status. So this is what they call absolvent. So it's like a graduate status that you're just like every other person who is a Pole. You don't need to apply for extra work permit. Your employer does not need to conduct this labor test for you because you already have that work permit. So there's no need to. So this is one strategy that most employers use in Poland. But there will be some changes from July 1 this year, and students who are going to be admitted from September, October would have to go through additional work permits. So the things are changing because they discover that some people come here to study, but they don't finish the university at the time they want to finish, or that they ought to finish. So it's kind of it was abused. So everything is changing. So we have a lot of migration laws changing in Poland. And this one, there are some pathways for tech professionals. Like I've said before, that there's an exemption that if someone is a tech person, there's a way the person gets free exempted from the labor test. So it's much of a necessity and all of those things. Another key sector that there's a pathway for Polish employers to. Can you all hear me? I hope I'm not talking to myself.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good, because I couldn't see another person. Okay, so another sector is the agricultural sector. So there are what they call seasonal workers. So for Ukrainians, Belarusians, Armenians. So during the time when it's time for harvesting, like strawberries or some of those things, some of those vegetables or fruits, they give them visa and then they can come to work in the agricultural sector in this way. The healthcare sector is also looking for those who are proficiency in Polish language. So you need Polish language to be able to work with the medical profession because structurally Poland is Polish-speaking country. Majority of the people here speak Polish, so like 99.999%. So the remaining points, some 0%, 1%, they're just someone like you and I who just come here for study. So basically, if you want to speak to someone in the hospital, you have to know the medical terminologies and all that. So there are the study pathway, which I've already mentioned as a result of my previous slide. You can apply to Polish university like the University of Warsaw, HGH in Krakow, Jagiellonian University also in Krakow. You also have scholarships and you also have like student exchange. I've also experienced a situation whereby there are exchange on Erasmus project and people from Nigeria, from African countries, they come here even to do some kind of voluntary work with NGOs and all that, and then they come here. Now, I think for the next strategy of the European Union, they are focusing on Africa and African youth. So there are some projects through the NGO sector and through schools. If someone is currently enrolled in a school, you can have the opportunity to do your exchange program in the EU. So this is another pathway, and it's going to be fully funded. So it's fully funded. And you have, if you want to study in Polish language, like if you want to study medicine or any course that requires Um, the main language of the country, you have preparatory classes for this. You can do language classes for 1 year, intensive, everyday Polish to be able to go into the field. So like those who want to do medicine, it's until now that I started to have like medicine, private university offering some medical courses in English language. But traditionally, those people who finish from those schools cannot practice in Poland because there is no way you can study medicine in English and practice in a Polish speaking country. So it would be hard for you to find a job. So what's next for you, in that way? So it's better to have these preparatory classes to be able to find your way. For young people, I advise, please do this if you can do it. If your parents are paying for your tuition and all that, it's better you do it in that way. For the next pathway, which I'm not sure if I mean I wouldn't know if some of you have got Polish spouses or people here in Poland or wives or your partner is studying here. You have to, prove your relationship, whether by marriage or whichever way you must have stable income. You must have your 120% of minimum wage, it should be higher than the minimum wage. You need to also prove that you have accommodation, health insurance, and all of those things for the duration of when you're applying for your visa or your spousal sponsorship and all that. So I wouldn't delve into this too much because we don't have any need for it. So what are those realities? I will call it realities in terms of realities of what Africans face. First of all, is the language barrier, and then also the issue of language, which I've already explained. We speak Polish here. Bureaucratic delays, because to navigate everything here in the society, you should understand, for example, when you submit your documents, especially with legalization or immigration issues, there are more and more people now than the staffs working. It's just like in Nigerian ministry, for example. So you can have people who are overwhelmed with different things. So this caused delay. And on the side of the foreigners or migrant or student, whoever we categorize them, they don't submit complete document. So when you don't submit complete document, this will cause delay for them to reassess your case, and then eventually there may be some negative decisions. There may be unclarified situations or change of addresses, because students are most likely to change addresses. So as a result, they have situations like this. Discrimination, I would say these are systemic issues, and we call it discrimination because you may feel that you ought to have a certain job or position, but you don't have it, and then you feel discriminated. So if you start to understand or come to reality of how the system works, how what is obtainable in the country, then this discrimination may be relative. So for example, for myself, I was looking for jobs in advertising agency. I will see agencies of what I've done in Nigeria, and I would like to work for them here in Poland. But then my brain did not switch that I need to understand Polish to be able to write advertising copy for someone who is of Polish origin. So, and then my Polish was really, really bad. I couldn't even communicate very well in Polish. So those things really, really matter a lot. And then when it comes to housing, for you to get a house, Polish people like trust. So if you want to rent a place or get a place of your own, you need to use your Polish friends or colleagues in school or colleagues at work to help you to look for a place to live. Otherwise, you won't find it, because they need to know where you're from. First of all, in terms of paying of the rent, and if you're also going to stay for a long time, because it gives them also stability and rest of mind that, oh, you're renting my place for a long time. So if I have to pay the government some money, it means this person, I won't be looking for another person in the next 6 months. So they prefer to give on a long-term basis. So if you want to rent for a short time, like 3 months or so, you may not easily find it. So you have to look for like ways to navigate it, rent an apartment. Social services also might be challenging because we don't speak the language and you may not be entitled to it. So for example, if someone gives birth in Poland, because you're not a tax-paying person or you're not a Polish citizen, you may not be entitled to some kind of benefit for the child. And your child doesn't have like the citizenship status because neither of the parents have Polish citizenship. So this is another thing. So some of those things that are available to Poles may not be available to you as a foreigner or as a student. So you need to understand some of those things. And then with jobs, there are still some jobs that I applied for many years ago and I never got the feedback or response. So like also knowing, and some will not even reply to you. Like Stephen mentioned before, you need to know how to write the CV, use the keywords that employers are looking for, how the algorithm works to be able to understand those situations. Current trends and future outlook, there are more and more foreigners, Africans coming to Poland to study, a lot of Zimbabweans, a lot of Nigerians, Kenyans, even from every part of the world, Turkish students and all that coming. So the market is really getting high and high. And a lot of Ukrainian students also speaking English, who have lived or watch a lot of American movies and start to speak like Americans and all that, or some of them have gone abroad for exchange programs and all that. And now there is, like I said, so from July 1, the visa issues will be changing. Students will no longer have this automatic work permit to work as students, and then they need to write like a special permission from the school to put in proportion and the ratio of number of foreign students and all that. So, and then even getting the visa from Nigeria may be another thing entirely. Also, there's the blue card where if you're working here in Poland, but you need your salary to be at a particular level to be able to qualify for the blue card, and also you can go to another EU country to work based on this blue card platform. So basically, that's I'm more into like educational pathway. I mean, this is the most reliable way of moving around, and then also for jobs. Also, if you find a job that can give you the leverage to move around, and you can even have remote work. For example, you can work remotely before coming down to Poland, and then later you can prepare the pathway for your relocation and all the necessary procedure and all that. So basically, this is how I can describe moving around Poland and maybe other EU countries as well. For other countries that I'm not in those places, I wouldn't be able to advise you accordingly because I don't know how it works there. But when it comes to Poland and all that, so it's better we understand how it works and what kind of study can you do to be able to come down to Poland. If you have questions or anything, I'm sorry I couldn't speak louder because I'm grappling with allergies. So that's my situation right now. So if you have questions, I'm ready to, maybe Stephen can help us to read the questions out. I can explain better and share with you some tips or some university links to study. And I mean, this is the pathway that I know. I mean, working with migrants, working with different type of people, and we've seen different situations. And the situation now, because Poland is having issues at the at the Belarusian border. So there are different ways which people are coming down to the country. And now there is a bill already passed into law. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? And the government is giving no mercy for people coming in illegally. So basically, this is the situation right now in Poland. So yeah, thank you very much. And I don't know if I
Thank
overstayed.
you. No,
Thank
thank you so much. Thank you for
you.
your insightful presentation. Even for someone like me who has been here for like 4 years, it's insightful. There are many things that I think for someone that is in Poland will appreciate your presentation more because you went into more detail as to some of the things, some of the challenges. So there are a few questions here from Blessing Undoku. She asking, please, ma, how much is Poland student visa? Typical Nigerian Christian.
Student visa. I mean, if you go officially, I need to check because I've not checked how much it is to apply for a study visa and all that for a long time. Maybe I'm not sure if it's up to 80 euro or how much euro you have to pay for the official fee and all that. So I need to ask, I mean, I need to check the website for the current amount for the study visa. First of all, I will not tell you that it is easy to come to Poland. I mean, I usually tell people that it's even easier to go to the US or the UK than coming to Poland because you need to look for appointment time, pay the application fee, and all those things. So if you finally get it, you want to fill the application form on time. But I cannot say officially, above my head right now, how much is the study visa or how much it costs. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I can speak regarding that question because
Okay.
when you hear about going to Poland or going to country, and the cost of the student visa is oftentimes not as expensive as you think. What costs oftentimes is the process.
Yeah.
The process is what costs money. Let's say you are in Port Harcourt, you have to fly down to Abuja, you have to notarize some of your documents. Sometimes some of them you have to legalize them. If you are not paying agent, me all these middlemen, because during my time, I did everything myself, so I didn't pay anybody. So I think the visa fee then was 80 euros then. So
Yeah, thereabouts.
yeah,
Maybe
it was about
40
80
euros,
euros.
yeah.
So
40 euros I paid.
the mindset I would want every one of us to go home with, irrespective of the destination you plan on going, whether Europe, America, or UK, the best way to migrate for young people is through school. No
Correct.
matter how bad the economic condition of the country is, don't go through
Yeah,
cutting corners and
because
stuff.
I didn't use agent. I've never used or relied on agent for anything because for me, I like to, I don't have any choice but to do it myself. I applied for my school by myself. I locked myself in the room while I was working in Nigeria. I said no student would disturb me to not apply for this. I was even sleeping. I said, will I not apply for this application form? I opened the form again. I filled it. I submitted it to the school, and that was it. And then, like play, they gave me admission, the scholarship, and then after that, again, I applied for the visa. I was making my hair in the salon when the website opened, and my colleague just told me the website is open because it was a struggle for me to get the date. So I left the salon and then went straight to the cafe near the salon to just fill the thing in 1 hour, just fill my details, and that's all. There's nothing that you need that the agent doesn't, even the agent doesn't know what to fill for you.
Most of those agents have not left Nigeria before.
Nigeria, this is what I
I
tell people.
Yeah.
They've not left Nigeria before. They've not even carried plane before, but they will give you every detail. And this is information that is at your fingertips.
Yeah.
So I did it myself. The only thing you can ask people is maybe guide me. Uh, is it true or something like this to check to verify, second opinion and all that in terms of maybe choosing school, which school offers the best course, or if the school is still licensed and all that. There are some mushroom schools that have been shut down here and
Yeah.
their licenses withdrawn because it's easy to get admission with those schools. So this is why the government is also regulating admissions for foreigners, so that those mushroom schools do not prey on foreign students. So this is something that is being controlled. Yeah, basically.
Right. Nice. For anyone that wants to come to Poland or any EU country, what you have to focus on is you have to focus on doing the whole process yourself first. Do it yourself.
Mhm.
And agents don't know better. Don't believe in the confidence they use in telling you that, don't worry, in 2 weeks' time your visa will be out. They just want to steal your money. You need to join communities, join like-minded people that are going
Mhm.
on the same journey that you are going. These people share a lot of information. That's the goal. There's a question by
Yeah, I've seen some questions
Kende.
also.
She said,
Jeremiah first. Would you recommend Poland as a destination in further academics? If yes, they speak in English? This is what I said before in my presentation, that some universities offer courses in
English.
English language, and it depends on if you want to further in academics, for example, it depends on the course you want to do. Like
Yeah,
there are some courses you cannot do in English. So like accounting, you cannot do it in English
yeah,
because you need to practice in Polish structural, financial, and all that. You can do finance, which some courses, private university do this. Yeah, they speak English in some schools. They offer some courses in English language. So Jeremiah, you can look at some schools, depending on the course actually you want to do. So you can actually do that. So in this way. And then someone, Kende said also in the situation of student visa, 20 hours per week. So that affects working remotely. Okay, so in Poland now, as we speak now, from now till June 30th, right? You can work even 100 hours. So far, you maintain your student status. So far, you have what brought you to Poland. You can justify that with your transcript, exams, you're not missing classes. You can justify that to immigration office. We don't work 20 hours here. You can have full-time work, 40 hours and all that. So per week. So it doesn't affect. So most students, you see, they have negotiation with their employers. The employer is able to navigate. Maybe you can do night shift if your work permits, if your employer permits you to do that. So you may not necessarily need to do 20 hours. But if you cannot do full time, maybe you find a part-time job, then you can do that 20 hours. And then also working remotely, it doesn't affect it. So if you find a job that allows you to work remotely, most people now after pandemic, they have the flexibility. Maybe just once a week you can go to the office and all that. But then that's the only thing.
All right, thank you. There's a question. Is there a fully funded scholarship?
Of course, there are so many people who came to Poland to study sustainable development course, even English, teaching English language as foreign education in Warsaw University, but it's highly competitive. I know like 2 or 3 people who came to Poland through this route for master's degree. And if you check Warsaw University, maybe Stephen can help me put University of Warsaw in the chat. You can find courses in English language that I think even African studies. Yeah, there is maybe this SDG African studies, and then this teaching English language as a foreign language. Those three, I know that they were competitive, but some people came from Nigeria on the scholarship. Yeah, there are. Even I was on scholarship as well, so I got it directly, but it's highly competitive. So you just need to do this.
There are many scholarship for EU, many scholarship in the
Yeah.
EU. So you just have to go on. First of all, you have to be open to doing most of these things yourself. Make proper use of the data you have on your phone. Go,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way anybody can tell you, oh, this is the scholarship. Let me spoon feed you and all that. But what you have to understand is that there are scholarships in every country, especially EU. There are a lot of scholarships. So if you're able
Yeah.
to search through online, you'll be able to see a lot of
Okay,
them.
there's something I forgot to mention. So someone is saying, I'll take note of this. Someone is saying, what is needed of me to come with second class in earth science? I mean, you're in a better position. I didn't do sciences. There was a guy who came here as a postdoctoral researcher in, was it life sciences or plant science or soil science? Soil science. That's what he did. And he left Poland already. He was on scholarship. So it's second class is just maybe you just need to justify your intelligence during the interview. They check your degree. If some school allow it, fine. If some school don't, it's okay. It depends on if you want to do masters or you want to do PhD. You need to be well grounded with your proposal and all that. Someone says it is the same in Italy language and job is the main. So, for example, the main limitation after your job is the main limitation after your masters. So after your studies in Poland, there's another thing you benefit from. You have that automatic work permit you have as a student. If when you finish your studies, you have 1 year to have this graduate status to apply for a job. But the trick in that way is that I usually advise students that do not let the system defeat you, because by the time you're applying for that, for example, I finish my studies, I want to look for a job, I need this 1 year card, 1 year residence permit to look for a job. So the immigration office expect that by the time you are submitting that application, within 6 months, you will have a job or something, you already found something doing within that. And because the time they spend in
Processing.
processing your document, it's already past that 6 months. So by the time they'll now give you the decision, if you submitted all the things, your transcripts, diploma for your certificate after studies and everything, by the time the decision will not come out, they've counted that time of starting the application plus that decision time, which is 6 months have gone into it. They now give you the card for 6 months. So you'll be left with 6 months to quickly find a job and reapply again. What I usually tell students, what students do mostly is by the time you're in your second year, you have grounded a bit, you've studied how your lecturers are organizing classes, and you see how your colleagues too are navigating everything. In your second year of studies, whether BSc or masters, the first year, use it to get your foot ready, your put your foot on ground. By the time you are going to second semester, you already have friends who can refer you to companies and all that. Get a job and connect it to your studies so that after studies, immigration will not defeat you in terms of looking for this. So this is what I usually advise students to do. So because if you allow the system to defeat you, you'll be running helter-skelter and all that. And actually, this is what I did. And my friend said, "Oh, Omoye, you're very smart." I said, "Yeah, because after studies, I'll be left with looking for this thing around. If the system defeats you, you'll be able to find your feet." So someone said I studied actually have BSc in pharmacology. Is there a pathway for someone medical profession in academics without speaking Polish? So it depends on medical profession you want to do, for example. So for people who study pharmacology and all that, so it depends on if you want to do research like PhD, masters. There are some pharmaceutical company now coming to Poland that people are working with them, but the specialization they do is not really pharmacology. Maybe they have different data scientists or they have for a pharmaceutical company. But in terms of real pharmaceutical production, all those kind of things which you do in the core pharmacy profession, it's hard without Polish language, and especially coming from Nigeria, you've not studied the language unless you want to do research. So the best way, if you want to do like PhD and all that, so that gives you leeway. So and then for PhD, if you're interested in PhD, you have the opportunity to get like monthly stipends, and you don't have to pay tuition anymore for PhD if you're thinking about that. So that's another pathway which would help you without necessarily using Polish language in your research. So and then you can focus your research on something that is general, more focused on your work and all that. So PhD students have got stipends and it's competitive. So you must not abandon that PhD. So the next, if you finish year one of your PhD, you would have to submit progress report of what you've done before, and then you continue thereafter and thereafter like that. So this is the best way.
Yeah, I myself, I had a bachelor's degree in pharmacology, and I am
Uh-huh.
thriving here. So it's not really language barrier. It's only a barrier oftentimes in your head, in your mind. If
Mhm.
you are, for most of the persons that I've met here, they don't speak Polish and they have jobs.
Mhm.
They are doing very well, irrespective of your background. If you are in Nigeria and you want to move out of Nigeria, your you shouldn't carry your course of study as a badge on your head. You
Yeah,
understand?
should be able to shift. For example, you see the
You have to
current
be
trend and
very
then shift,
flexible. You have to
flexible with
look at
changing.
where the world is
Correct.
going.
But
Uh,
you still need Polish language to survive in the society. This is what I tell people.
yeah.
Learn the language because if you want to stay or you want to go to another place, it's easier for young people in your 20s, in your 30s to recollect, learn the language as much as you can, because there are some opportunities for you than people who do not speak at all. So this is something that I try, and also integration. So I also work on integration of people, try to mix with posts, try to use your network to do things. So studying pharmacology, you can look at another pathway, which you can think of in academics. You can do research. So you can look at one area of pharmacology that you've not done before and then twist it and all that. In fact, people like you who study sciences, earth sciences, life sciences, they get admission because some professors are also working in that field, and then they allow you to be their students and all that. So you are funded under the grant, and it's easy. So than people in social sciences. So this is it.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. All right. I think we'll close for today.
Yeah.
We are going to be issuing certificates tomorrow. So we are going to be having our final session tomorrow. So if you are not currently in the mentorship group, please try and find yourself there so that your certificate can be printed and your names can be printed on it. So get yourself in the mentorship group so that you can submit your names for your certificates to be printed, personalized to your names and all that. So we are going to be having the final session tomorrow. Is we are going to do issuance of certificates, and just one guest is going to come, and who is someone who's going to just come speak to us. So I hope to see you all tomorrow, same time and same place. All right. Have a good night, everyone.